afternoon, everybody. Sorry I got a little bit of a late start today and starting a little earlier than we wanted to, or rather changed it to. Wanted to change it to 2 o'clock, but I'm back a little early. My wife is headed off to some kind of conference thing, so she was coming home around 1 to drive to that, so that's why I bumped it back, but I am back. All right. Wow. Let's talk about Cardano. Man, this thing is beat to hell. Okay, I drew a lot of these trend lines, and this is like the definition of a parabolic drop. Okay, we've seen parabolic rises. This is a parabolic drop. It's like a crooked finger, and it just keeps pointing down in one direction. These are called blow-off moves. These are unsustainable. They do not last very long, although they may move far. This is I have picked up quite a bit of Cardano. Yeah, I bought a bunch. I have. I'll just take a little snapshot of the Cardano. 80,000 Cardano. Just because it's so beat down. So Cardano's chart looks a lot like Nano's chart from way back when, okay? And oh yeah, I had TradingView chat up because there is nothing but death and blood in the water, which is great. That's exactly the kind of conditions we want to see. Because we're reaching that like total full-blown capitulation, final panic, which there's really not much farther for it to drive. So I mean, actually, we look at this now, Cardano BTC on the hourly here, which got 14 minutes left to close. Look how much that has driven up since we've been talking. Pretty nice looking candlestick. Lots of volume participation down here. Divergent on multiple time frames. Let's take a look at the daily. Actually, I want to look at it over here. Get rid of Ichimoku. Don't need that. All right, so already now on most of the pairs of the altcoin and cryptocurrency market, I have identified where the absolute tradable bottom is. And for Cardano, that's actually, I just kept it at what it's, no, actually, that's not true. It's the harmonic square low here is 79.21. And really anything that travels below that 0.8 harmonic is not even considered oversold. It is considered like really oversold. It's way overdone. And they become great. For me, they become great buying opportunities. So the chart that looks like this is Nano's. We see where Nano came from when it was trading well below its 0.8 harmonic level. We just saw that there was just this massive rise in value, and that is something I believe we should see happen again. Probably both with Nano actually in the current value zone. We could see that play out. And then, but definitely with Cardano, because it has definitely been pushed down more than a lot of the other altcoins. It is the big laggard lately. In fact, let's look at it on the daily. Oops. On the daily. So this is the Cardano dollar pair. It has been in a downtrend ever since January 5th. All right, we've done nothing but move down. The only really big, the only time we really had a relief rally was back here. That was in April through, actually it's pretty much the whole month of April. Yeah, pretty much the whole month of April we saw a rise in value. But ever since then, from the beginning of May on, Cardano has not had more than 6 days of an up move to really speak of. I mean, the last major one was back here in July, where we went from opened at 1272, and we got to the high of 1980. So that was a nice move, but ever since then, we've had a pretty steep drive lower, guys. We've gone from there down to here. We've had a 66% loss of value in a 55 day move. And then just the Gann count wise, we are 248 days into a bear move without any real rally relief there. And on the daily, certainly over the past week, if we just look at really the 5th of September till just the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and today, all we've done is print new lower lows. And the only good thing is that we've actually seen volume increase as we've been getting lower. And why do I say that's a good thing? Well, because volume increasing as prices are moving down means that there's participants coming in. So that means that that buyers are coming in to support the price action. So that is something to pay attention to. Let's look at Bitcoin real quick, which is holding pretty nicely so far. I mean, this is we're seeing a lot of buying tails here. If we look at the square of 52, here we are. We are still, it's really the same trade idea here. Nothing really different as far as what we discussed yesterday. Looking at this entire construction, seeing prices stay within the arc here. We're getting really close to this pivot in time. In fact, I consider it to be well within that area where we see where we can see a major move. And then looking at the mirrored foldback, we are right in both the time and the pattern setup to see one of those massive drives higher. So that is still in play. We have not seen a clear divergence from that pattern yet. It is still playing out, still active, and we're just kind of waiting. But it's kind of a dull wait. There's seriously not a lot of participation in moving this one way or the other. One of the, what was I saying? Blah, blah. September generally is kind of a meh. It actually varies. Some years September is flat to trending down, and then I think that's the most common behavior for September. I want to check it out though. Is it possible that it will go down to 0.04 Cardano dollar pair? I mean, it could. I mean, that's really going to depend more on. Here's the other thing: if we do get another big sell-off, like we did last week, if we get that move where like on the 4th that we had, then if you remember, we were looking at a couple cryptos to trade back then, and it was blockchain, Block Mason protocol, and then there was Bitcoin Gold and OMG, and what was the other one? I forget. Those ones actually outperformed the market during this entire drive down. They eventually did sell off, but right away, some of them caught a major pump, and during that first 2 days, there was actually a relative stability of value and actually a kind of a nice bullish trading opportunity that happened. So if we do get another big sell-off like this, then I went into what I've been doing ever since then. I wrote about it in my Coin Clarity article that it appears that cryptos that have a very extensive and prolonged move down, where they continue to create either both yearly lows, calendar year lows, or year over year lows, then those actually appear to have some type of support that pours in for them while everything else is getting sold. So that's something to keep an eye on. And Cardano is certainly a crypto that is way far gone into the overdone category as far as oversold. Again, Cardano and Nano kind of remind me of small cap biotechs and how they move prior to some big release. And so it's just a holding game. I mean, I have no problem. I mean, any greater than 5% drive down in Cardano, I keep picking some up. I mean, I just don't see why not. I'm going to keep getting discounts on something that has significant growth and value ahead of it. Sure, because there's a lot of times in the past, like last year and earlier this year, where I wished I could have gotten in the single digit. So, yeah, and I mean, there's not a lot of risk there either. So, yeah, looking forward to if we do go lower, that would be kind of interesting. But oh yeah, again on the most recent swing, the 1.618 fib extension is sitting right here too. So this is gonna be a natural support zone. Yeah, it's looking pretty interesting here. Let's look at the daily chart quick. Look at the volume that is in here. We have quite a bit of volume. Actually, let's look at the Bitcoin pair. Bitcoin pair's got quite a bit of volume. Continues to have volume. We're continuing to stay above the arc here. We're coming up against a pivot in time. If we look at the weekly, little different. The weekly chart for this week so far, even though we only have 2 days in here, is really not changed much at all. We're sitting right near the close and the open, which is a pretty interesting signal if we look at it. If we do the oh, excuse me, you can see that we have a high volume node painted here, and any further down from this zone, there's a big gap below for Bitcoin, and that is going to be mirrored. There we are. Right below is, actually we're kind of below that already. Looking at the weekly chart for the Cardano Bitcoin pair, the volume point of control is up here. So in other words, the area that has had the most volume traded at the watching from London. Yeah, I am. And hello from across the way. I am very far away from London, where I'm at. I'm about as central United States as you could get, as far as in the middle, but I'm like in the north. I'm in South Dakota. I like it here because there's not a lot of people, and if I want to go see a lot of people, I don't have to go very far, but I can go shoot when I want to. I can pretty much go hunting when I want to. Lots of food. Some of the fastest internet in the United States actually travels through this part of the country. What else? I like it here. But it's about 6 hours behind the UK's time zone. I haven't been to the UK in like 10 years. And my wife and I are going to go there, I think, maybe next year. Yeah, unlike they can't even fly a drone. Yeah. You can fly a drone here in South Dakota, but you have to be careful when you do it because it is so windy here. I live in a part of the country. It's called the Great Plains. So this is just a very, very flat land where I live. I mean, you can go on the interstate and you can play this game where you're driving and you see a tree off as far as you can, as far away as you can see in the distance, and you can play a game with yourself to count how many minutes does it take to get to that tree. That tree goes from Yankton, South Dakota, 8 hours north to Fargo, North Dakota, or to the Canadian border. The land is so flat. It is, there's just nothing. There's just flat nothingness out there. Some buffalo, corn, beans, cattle, hogs, chickens, and it's just. Oh, and then sometimes the Air Force, there's a Air Force Base in Offutt, Nebraska, and then there's another Air Force Base in Rapid City, and they often do some maneuvers up in the sky, so you can see these wicked, crazy contrails overhead if they do that stuff on our side of the state. It's pretty neat. Anyways, I'm babbling there. Let's see. Yeah, I like the current price level. And here's the other thing. So the volume point of control, that's the area where the most amount of price has traded volume wise. So the volume here is pretty high at this price level at 21.77. The volume point of control is a very strong source of support and resistance. It's also a very strong like an ATR. So prices do not like to travel far from this level. They don't. They like to be around it. So when they travel down below it, if a new point of control isn't painted, it'll more than likely want to snap back up. So, if I'm looking at the weekly chart here, I mean, we've got these on the technicals. We are crazy overdone. I mean, the composite index is an unbounded oscillator, the composite index, and then the stochastic RSI, of course, is a bounded oscillator. But this is a long ass time to be in an oversold condition, which is fine. I mean, things can remain in oversold conditions forever. But it's not often you see the composite index painting such a flat value area like right here. This is an odd thing to see on the weekly. On the daily, it's a little different. On the daily, again, this is a parabolic drive down if I've ever seen one. These are the kind of moves that in a blink get rejected, and you see a pretty this is just one of those setups that just is screaming for a intervention. And I'm not always a big fan of catching a falling knife or the dead cat bounce, but if there's something that is looking like a dead cat bounce pretty soon, this is it. And there's a huge divergence going on here between altcoins and Bitcoin, and that is something to be aware of. Some people would say that, well, altcoins falling means that people are leaving altcoins and going into Bitcoin, and that is what's sustaining Bitcoin's position. Sure, that, I guess, I don't know how you would quantify that, and I don't know how you would determine, which position by which group or which trader is from selling, holding, is a transaction from Bitcoin going into or going out of a altcoin into Bitcoin, but okay, I guess that kind of, certainly that is a thing we see. But we may just be starting the beginning of the whole capital rotation of Bitcoin back into altcoins. I mean, if we look at CoinMarketCap, which it is down. So we were up to like 194 billion yesterday, 194 to 195, and now we're below 190 billion. What is the big reason for this? Well, a lot of the cause is because of this guy over here, Ethereum. Now, okay, Look at this candlestick right here on the 1 hour. That is crazy. Yeah, I no, Khalil, you're dead on. I do think that Cardano is going to be. I don't know if it'll replace Ethereum, but I think it has a lot more of a use, and it has a lot more going for it. So, um, Cardano has a proven fix and solution to proof of stake, and at the get go, they are going to be decentralized. Okay, problem with EOS. Well, there's been a lot of problems with EOS, but one of the big problems with EOS is that while it wanted to become decentralized, it was the same. It's the same problem you really had with Bitcoin, and then the Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Cash debacle. Is that decentralized means decentralized. Decentralized doesn't mean that we're going from a socialist, communist government into a crony capitalism or an oligarchy, because that is exactly what Bitcoin Cash is. It is just the quote unquote capitalist, evil capitalist side of the evil. I don't know any benevolent communism, maybe in Star Trek, because nobody has to worry. There's no resource to fight over. So, yeah, maybe Star Trek's benevolent socialism, communism. The state runs everything. You can just create things out of thin air by asking for it. T. Earl Grey. Anyways, you have Ethereum's got a lot of stuff going for it fundamentally, in that it's hopefully got a fix soon for its scalability issues, because if this blockchain can get clogged by CryptoKitties, there's a huge effing problem. Yeah, this is an issue with Ethereum and its scalability, but Cardano is got a lot more going for it. I don't even really know where to begin. In Japan, it's huge. They are coming out with those ATMs this year. Yeah, I think it's still this year's 2018 is when they're still 2018 or early 2019 is when they're coming out with Cardano ATMs, and the Cardano network is stupidly fast. Well, I mean, instead of talking about it, we could just go to cardano.org. And where is the... No, don't want that. Oh, there it is, roadmap. Next roadmap update. Optimized block starts Cardano testnet. That is 45% through. I believe this is almost finished, though. Data list for Linux, Cardano Rust project, Yuri desktop wallet, Shelly. Yes, this is the one that yeah. This is gonna be the big deal, is that we'll be able to stake the Cardano. That's a big deal. Wallet backend and quantum resistant signatures, light client support. Oh, this is a big request, and they've actually worked pretty fast on this. I don't know a lot of projects out there that I've ever looked at that have as much sophistication and transparency as Cardano. Now, granted, Cardano is also, they don't have anything. They don't have anything to really show. I mean, it's still just there's not a deliverable really. So that's kind of the issue. But I mean, other than that, I mean, this is a third generation blockchain. It's very sophisticated. It's got a whole lot of people with a bunch of initials and letters and alphabets next to their name. It is a very big project, and if there's one kind of complaint about Cardano, is that they move slowly, but they want to make sure everything is going to be correct when it's out. So yeah, the mainnet is a big deal. Yeah, it's got a lot of things going for it. And I think the fact that it's still kind of hovering around the present value area, or that it's still pushing these lows, these are like for me, I'm actually thrilled that these price levels are here, because if we go back in time, okay, let's just think about this for a second. The close of the first day of open trading on Binance for Cardano, it closed at 0.000009. But really, let's take a look here at convert it into dollars. The close in dollars was 12 cents. And it rose from that close to a high of a buck. What is that? A buck 27, buck 28, a 1,070.59% increase in 35 days. That's freaking nuts. Okay, if anybody tells you that like Bitcoin can't go to $1 or $2, or I mean, Cardano can't go to, did I say that right? Well, whatever. That Cardano can't go to $2 by the end of the year, or that Bitcoin can't go past $20,000 by the end of the year. Why can't it? I mean, oh my God, like, this is such a common pattern in all cryptos. It's ridiculous. Just here's Bitcoin's chart. Go back all the way to the beginning. This pattern. Let's just take a peek here. So here is the 2017 pump and the 2018 fall. Okay, this is where we're currently at. All right. Let's zippity-doo that back over to 2010. That pattern looks pretty familiar. That pattern looks pretty familiar. That pattern looks pretty familiar. Oh, look, sell-off. Oh, look, a familiar pattern. And not really. Oh, look, a familiar pattern. That looks pretty familiar to me. We have the Mt. Gox stuff going on here. That was a yucky time. Followed by our late 2015, 2016 recovery. It's a pretty similar pattern right there. Pretty similar patterns. Pretty similar pattern. These are pretty huge drops. I mean, okay, come on here, folks. Let's be serious. In a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, in a 1 week time period, we dropped from 1150 down to a low of 740. That's a bit of a fast drop. All right, this looks pretty familiar. None of this looks. This is all really just a part of the pattern, except with this experience that we've had since 2018, though, this has been as far as relative to the prior spike, this has been a prolonged, drawn out process. So, but if you look, we're continuing to make higher lows now, and this head and shoulders pattern, I mean, unless it cracks and breaks, it's gonna cause a lot of folks who are trapped to be, buyers here pretty soon. There's something else I was gonna go over here. Shoot, don't remember what it was. Ugh. Oh well. Yeah. So this. Oh, I was gonna look at September. So September 2017 saw a rising market. Let's go to 2017. 2016. September was pretty flat. 2015. September was down and then flat. 2014 September was down quite a bit. Oh, we're talking about Mt. Gox here. 2013 September, pretty flat here. Then we have the next September of 2012. Trending a little bit higher, but not much. September of 2011 was a downtrend, and September of 2010 was pretty flat. So, yes, we do. We do indeedy. In fact, as a I work from home as a I trade my own accounts, and then I've got some private clients, and I do a lot of education and that kind of stuff. Because if you trade on your own and if you become profitable, my hat's off to you, because you've probably been close to suicide before, no joke. Also, you learn, at least I've learned, that the more I've traded, the longer my time horizons get, at least for my own accounts. So I end up having a lot of free time. Not any less stressful, but just still a little bit more free time. And the nice thing about that is that I totally forgot where I was going. I got a message, and that totally threw my thought process out. But anyways, September has traditionally been for Bitcoin mostly a flat month, followed by a little bit of a bias to the downside. There's only been 2 years where we've actually had a noticeable rising market, and that was in 2017, and then in 2011 did we see a market that actually showed a bit of a rise in September. Now, if we look at it differently, though, when we look at the seasonality component, like the quarterly seasons, if we look at, let's go back in time here, because some of you folks have seen this before, some of you have not, but it's important. Some traders, especially new traders, I think don't get seasonality or believe that it's something that can be traded off of. That is something that is definitely, you can definitely trade off it. I can't think of it. Drawing tools. Where's my... Oh, yeah, rectangle. Okay, so we have fall, summer, spring, winter. Going into the fall starts on the 22nd or 23rd of September, if I'm correct. Let me see. What day is it this year? September 22nd. Okay, September 22nd. We'll just say it's the 23rd. 23rd through December 21st. That is fall. Okay, so this is all the way back in 2011 to 2012. We have a relatively, it's a down market, but it pretty flat. We look back here, September 23rd-ish to December 21st. We have a rising market. Let's keep going with this, because you'll see how these things play out. We have September of 2012. For the 22nd, 23rd to December 21st. We have a pretty flat looking market there. 2013. Fall 2013. Man, it is windy outside. 2013. Then we've got to December 21st. Clearly, we have a rising market. 2014, the Mt. Gox hoarders. We really don't even need to draw one here, but we can see that that is a down move. September 23rd to December 21st. Actually, here, I mean, it was down, but it wasn't horrible. 2015, September through December. A rising market. 2016. Through December. A rising market. 2017, well, we all know what happened here. So, with the exception of the Mt. Gox years, we have a very high probability, the seasonality for Bitcoin in the fall is to either rise or begin the rise for the winter, because winter rises are pretty common in Bitcoin. See, we see December has a peak in 2016 and 2015. December has a peak. In 2014, it does not. In 2013, it has a peak. In 2012, wait a minute, where am I at? 2013, yes, there's the peak. 2012. Actually was near the high for the year, even though this looks kind of meh. Then there was actually a spring rally there. 2011. December, right here. The winter rise. It's a fairly consistent pattern that we see play out. And that is what we're sitting in. So, what does that mean going forward, looking at today's price action? I mean, if we're looking at the whole broad crypto market as a cycle, we're just and we're anticipating the higher prices, then I mean, this is awesome. Again, we shouldn't be. I mean, I get it if people are depressed right now. People don't want to trade. They open up their phone all day. They're looking at the price every single minute probably and getting frustrated and angry. And they're just like, what the fucking manipulation, blah, 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 blah. You know, well, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at price all day long in a bear market, wondering why it's not going up or thinking that it should just, you know, based on, I don't know, randomness, you're probably going to get frustrated. But if you're somebody who has and understands that this is a long biased market and that things are going to have another exponential rise, then holy cow, things are sitting at what they opened at. Like, let's just take this, wrap your head around this for a second. Cardano has a ton of value and growth in front of it. It's not a shite coin. It's not crap. It's not vaporware. It has a lot of awesomeness behind it. It's trading below what it opened at a dollar value from last November. There are analysts, and I don't put a lot of faith into this. People say Cardano could see 8,000% increase. I don't know how people quantify that. No clue, but let's just say someone's right. If there's an 8,000% increase, wouldn't you like to have... Well, if I ask myself, wouldn't I like to buy Cardano at 6 cents. And even if Cardano travels all the way up to like 50 or 60 cents over the next month or so, am I going to be upset that I didn't wait to buy it all when it got down to 5 or 4? Probably not. I mean, yeah, 5 or 4 cents is compared to what we're at now is a bigger deal than 5 or 4 cents when something's trading at $1 or 60 cents. But I mean, this is the point. Like, you get into something early and you park your ass there, and if you're buying this now expecting to be rich in a week, well, it sucks. Sorry, that just doesn't work like that. But holy cow, even if Cardano repeats just to the all-time high, even if it just matches the all-time high, and you get in at 6 cents, I bought a crap ton of Cardano last week and this week. I've got 80,000 Cardano now. I think my cost basis is around $6,500 or something like that. But I don't think like this because this is stupid to think like this. But if it gets to $1, I've got $80,000. I've quadrupled my money. I don't think like that. But come on, it is fun to think like that. If it gets up to $1, yeah, I'm fine. That's great. That's a badass return. But Cardano's not the only one sitting down here like this. Basic Attention Token is sitting very close to, actually it's near the close of the first day of its trading. Nano is well below where it was. XLM, I think if you don't have XLM in your portfolio, that, I don't know. If there's one altcoin that I think people should probably be hanging on to, well, there's a few of them, but XLM with its partnership with IBM, I think this is we want to avoid this. XLM, ow, freaking bit my lip in the same spot I bit it before. Oh my god, that is annoying. I'm reenacting a scene of The Office right now. Ugh. Pam, I'm going home. Sitting here at 19 cents. Oh, yeah. Get me in there. Scroll down here. Let's see the other ones. Dogecoin. Dogecoin. You pump and dump. Beautiful pump and dump. Let's see. ZRX. It is actually, it's getting hit pretty hard, but it's not far away from where it opened. XRP is evil. ZEC, Zcash, is making all-time lows. Well, with the exception of this craziness back here, but Zcash continuing to print lower lows. Steam, lower lows. A lot of these coins here are sitting in these lows, and the thing is that I'm cool with that. This is where I like to pick stuff up. I love to pick up cryptos in the summer and the early fall. I have very little risk when I do it like that. Buying things in the winter when there's a pump going on. Okay. Some people, and this is just a mindset you got to get yourself into. All right. Cardano. And one of the things I don't talk a lot about, and I should know better because I worked in the mental health field for 12 years before I did this, and my wife's a psychologist. She's a PsyD, not a PhD. She's a PsyD. She's like a legit, went to the Yoda School of Mind Control and Mind Reading. She is a literal doctor of psychology, not a research person. She will fix you. But trading is all psychological. The analysis component is important because it's useful in finding things that are going to be relevant and you'll find high probability entries, but ultimately we lose money in the market because we are emotional. We get afraid, we get hopeful, and we just freak out. And one of the best things that I learned to trade better, especially cryptocurrencies, is I wanted to know when I started to feel panicky and upset and angry and ready to say fuck it, pardon my French. When I see news articles all over the place, everything's saying Bitcoin is falling, it's lost 20%, it's a scam. Every time Jamie Dimon opens his mouth or something, or CNBC says something negative, or TradingView chat is just filled with people calling bulls idiots, or Futures IO or Baby Pips, whatever sites you go to, when everybody is screaming that it's a scam and it's going down to nothing, those are the exact time periods when you should be buying stuff. That's when I like to pick things up. I sold a little too early last winter because a gal at again, I live in a small town, all right? There's one grocery store, and it's not even that big. But when Mary at the grocery store, and I know the cashier's name, okay? It's just a small town. When she asked me about Cardano, I promptly went home and I sold my shit. I kid you not, I got out of that market. I was still doing a little trading, but I liquidated the good majority of my holdings because some gal I know who does not know anything about cryptocurrencies asked me about Cardano. Not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, some unobscure, or some obscure coin if you're not involved in the trading of it. That was the market top. If I see Mary again today and I go to the grocery store and I hear her say, well, I heard that Bitcoin was a scam, it's going down to zero, it's just crapping out, then I'm going to come back and buy it because that's just the inverse of it. When you start to feel so frustrated in your trading with what you're trading or your positions, if you feel like your position is going to keep going down, you can't stand anymore, you just get pissed off the more you look at it, it just sucks, and you can't emotionally separate that negative feeling, don't try to get rid of it just because the odds are, I mean, let's face it, none of us are special, and you're not special and I'm not special. If you're feeling pretty crappy and hopeless about something going on in the market, odds are so is everybody else. The trick is to not fall victim to your emotions, because oftentimes in big market moves like this, I say it is worse to have a good amount of patience than no patience at all in trading, because people who have absolutely no patience, who get frustrated easily, they'll get the hell out of there right away. People who have a pretty good tolerance for patience and are okay waiting around, there's a point like right now where they are getting exhausted and they are leaving the market. And oftentimes, right as you bounce is when things turn around. Okay? And that is just kind of it's just human nature. So even if prices were to move lower, and I'm talking like 57, 5,800, I'm cool with that. Actually, it'd be cool if it dropped down to these trend lines. On the technical side here, we're up against this pivot in time. We're still within the structure for seeing the imminent. The thing is, if you look at the mirrored foldback pattern up here, see this very large vertical line here. That is a behavior we should see happen here. I said yesterday within the next 7 trading days. So definitely within the next week, we should see this kind of a large drive up on a single daily candlestick. Or maybe a couple of candlesticks. But otherwise, I mean, we're watching this play out pretty normally, pretty consistently. And, structurally, there's a whole lot of support here sitting. The red vertical line represents a pivot in time. So this acts as a source of resistance to the trend in force, which is down on the long term, down on the short term. The arc here is acting as a support zone. Then we've got a long-term and a short-term uptrend line sitting right below here. And then we've got the all-time or the calendar year low sitting around there too. So, there's a lot of supportive activity here. And if we have to get down there to test those areas to generate enough, oomph to move higher, so be it. But one more thing before I bounce here about the mentality is that we should be happy that prices keep going lower. I'm saying this with a smile on my face. If you're worried about the conditions of your account balance on the short term, you probably are miserable. But if you've been trading any market and you know like how cycles work, then oh my God, this is like the part where you wake up in the morning giddy to see how low it's gotten, and want to pick things up on the cheap. And if it moves down lower, so what? I mean, dig under the couch and do whatever you need to do. But I mean, I am perfectly comfortable risking the money I'm risking. So is my wife after a lot of convincing. But otherwise, yeah, these are the kind of conditions that we see in a lot of markets prior to a major breakout. And for right here, I could see this being a very ugly psychological trading trick. We have this head and shoulders pattern here. We move below the neckline, we test lower, and then we snap back up out of it, causing a big whipsaw. That would be a really crazy. Those happen quite often, actually. These kind of setups. A head and shoulders pattern forming on the bottom here like this is not a sign of strength of this pattern. But anyways, any questions? All right. Well, again, folks, I hope you keep your heads up. I mean, I know that cryptos are a thing where, seriously, these I really honestly believe that this is the single greatest wealth generating opportunity in my lifetime. I'm going to be 36. I'm going to be a better trader because of this market, because of how bearish it is. But I also know that the values are going to continue to increase. That's just how these cycles work. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next major drive up, which is very soon. And yeah, but if you are upset about it because you've got a lot of capital invested and it's down and you're kind of upset. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. The worst. I think the worst thing, again. And I'm not giving out financial advice here, but I mean, I've experienced this in my early trading that the worst thing I think you can do in a trading environment like this is, if you've already been committed, is to leave it. This is a weird market to trade, and but because it's so long biased, it's one of those markets where even if you got in, at one of the swing highs back here, the probability of it going back up to that entry price and then superseding it is pretty high. It's a really high. It just won't happen over a short period of time. I mean, if you'd have to maybe wait a year for it to happen, but that's a good thing to check out. Oh, Brother Tim, thank you very much. What else? Oh, watch out for the end of the month. We have the SEC. Those ETFs. Some of those ETFs are going to get okayed this month. That hands down. There's I can't think of a reason why they wouldn't. Like or hate Donald Trump, he has appointed 4 out of the five commissioners at the SEC, including the chairman, they are all Trump appointees. All right. The last guy that they just got appointed back in August, he is a pretty pro Bitcoin crypto guy. And then Hester Pierce, she's the one who wrote that really scathing rebuttal to the SEC employees who denied the two most recent ETFs. Yeah, she really tore it apart, and I thought it was awesome. But then the other two, you know, they're really anti-regulation folks. They don't like that the SEC should have so much. You know, they're just there to protect investors and enforce the rules in place, not decide who or what gets to become a derivative in the financial market. So that thing's going to get passed. And I'll tell you what, once that, if that's the catalyst we have to wait for the price to catch up with the time cycles, then so be it. But holy hell, if the prices keep wanting to give us some lows and give us a fire sale, I will be an active participant in it. So, but I do look forward to the near future where we will have a tradable market where it's not all going in one direction, and you know, we'll be able to see some inverse pair trading and all that jazz. So yeah, there are some great buy opportunities that I'm looking at, but I want to wait to push those out until tomorrow to see what's going on. John, there's a picture on Google of the Wall Street cheat sheet on market psychology. When you line that example up with some of these cryptocurrencies, it's scary accurate. Yeah, I mean, really, all that a stock chart is, or a chart like this, if I just take all the drawings off, all this is a visual representation of the sentiment of the participants. Okay? If you just take away the whole idea that this is a price chart and then just view it as a mood indicator, then that's what this is. This is just telling us that, well, obviously a whole bunch of people feel pretty crappy right now about this market. But that is exactly the time that people should be looking to get in. I mean, this is the textbook example of a consolidative zone. Speaking of, there's an indicator called the Copic Curve. This is an oscillator, but the guy who created this, this is probably one of the most oddest indicators, but this is based on the bereavement cycle. So he asked some pastors and priests, he said, how long does it take for a person to get over the loss of a loved one? And it's 9 to 11 months. And so he figured, well, okay, 9 to 11 months after death of a loved one, how long does it take for somebody to recover from experiencing a huge financial loss? Because that is as traumatic as losing somebody important in your life, as the research shows. So 9 to 11 months. So when the Copic Curve is sitting in these extreme lows and they just kind of park there, then this is indicating that the sentiment is you're ready to go on a date again. Basically is what this is saying. You're ready to go out there and swipe right. Okay? That is what's happening here. But yeah, it's market is trading in general it's an emotional game. That's what it is. It's not about Elliott wave counts. It's not about Gann. It's all about the how you handle pain and loss. But anyways, kind of babbled there. My time is up. Sorry about the late start. Thank you for being patient with that. Forex Lens, folks, I will see you tomorrow morning at 6:30. Please like and subscribe if you like this video today. For those of you watching the recording, thank you for watching as well. For the rest of you, I will see you tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time for Decrypt markets again. Have a great rest of your trade day and your trade week. Bye-bye.